You know, as a builder, I don't need to be a master electrician, but I should have a pretty good handle, a pretty good understanding of the electrical systems in my house, and frankly, for all the trades. On the build show today, we're gonna do a best of video. If you don't know him, Travis Brungardt has been a build show contributor for quite a while now. He's a master electrician and he owns a master mechanical license, and he's a remodeler builder. And Travis's video this week is gonna run through understanding box fill, how to spec it, what are the sizes, what you need to know. It's a short video, but I think it's gonna be great information, whether you're a budding young electrician or whether you're an old builder like me who frankly only knows a little bit about electrical. I think you're gonna find this a really good video. With that being said, bestofthebuildshow.com, let's get going.
Welcome back to The Build Show. I'm Travis Brungardt. This week I want to talk to you about why all boxes are not created equal and how you can figure out the right box for you. So if you've ever been on a renovation project, looked up into the basement ceiling and seen something like this is an important episode for you to watch, because today I'm going to talk to you about box fill calculation, and not all boxes are created equal. So anytime you're going to begin an electrical installation, you have choices to make. You might have a new construction project where you're going to use nail-up boxes. You might be on a renovation project where you're going to cut a hole in the existing drywall and fish in a box with fins to hold it to the drywall. And you also might be in a commercial application where you need to use metal boxes. I want to talk to you about a very important part of that selection process that involves box fill calculation. This is going to be pretty easy for you if you've got an NEC. That's where this comes from. It's also in your IRC, but there is a table that says maximum number of conductors in metal boxes, maximum number of conductors, like it's all laid out for you. And it lists the cubic inches of volume of the box with a second set of numbers regarding how many 14-2 or how many 14 gauge, how many 12 gauge, how many 10 gauge, and so on. There's some basic rules that if you know those, you don't have to go to the book, because if you've ever done an installation and you've made up your box and had an inspector call you on, oh, you've got 5 14 gauge conductors in this, it's not going to fly. And you got to take it all out, you've lost time and you've lost money. And you actually potentially put your client at risk, because the whole reason this is written is based on the fire code. First, let's talk about the basic math. Every one of these boxes that you see here, except for the metal ones, actually has stamped in it an embossed number of cubic inches of volume. The metal boxes don't have that, except I think the pancake, it does say in it 6 cubic inches, because they know how hard it would be for us to figure out a 1/2 inch deep, 4-inch radius, pi r squared. The rest of these are easy because it's length times width times height. That's how you calculate volume. I've got, a pretty standard box here. This is a 2-inch, 3-inch, 2-inch. That's pretty easy math, right? 3 times 3 times 2. Even I can do that. But when we get into more complicated box sizes, like this shallow box, you end up with a smaller dimension. You got to do the math. This is an 8 cubic inch box. This shallow box can only take 4 number 14 conductors, or 14 AWG, however you like to say it. It's important to know that after you've calculated your volume of the box, you have to know what the value of the cubic inches per conductor is. And the way the NEC, and therefore the IRC, breaks this down is every conductor entering the box, every single one that comes in, has a value. If I put these in my box and I'm going to make up a connection between these two, it's a splice, I'm still bringing in all of these conductors. So even though it's only one path, it's still 6 different conductors, right? So everything going in the box has a value. That's the first thing to know. And then the second thing to know is, what value does it have? A 14 gauge conductor has a value of 2 cubic inches. A 12 gauge conductor has 2.25, and on down the line. You can reference your code books for whatever conductor size you're using. Because I'm a residential electrician, I'm focused on 14 and 12. That's 90% of what I'm pulling, 10 occasionally for appliances. When we start to break this down, and we've got our box in the wall and we know what we're going to bring into it, now we have to know a little bit more, because there's also a different rule for your grounding conductor. It doesn't have a current carrying conductor allowance of 2 and 2.25. The rules for grounds are you get your first 4 grounds equals 1 cubic inch, and then it's 0.25 for everyone after. But there's more. You've got to allow for your devices. If I'm going to put 2 switches in here, each device is worth 2, so that's 4 more. If you're a builder and you're trying to get through inspections, or you're a remodeler and you're trying to get the project done safely for your client, this is what you need to know. And it's all in the IRC, it's all in the NEC, easily looked up, and it's basic elementary school math. The only things you've got to remember are here. First, you got to know how to calculate volume, length times width times height. Now you know that fixed number. Then you start adding in every conductor that enters the box. Every current carrying conductor, which would be your hots and your neutrals, for a 14 gauge is going to be 2 cubic inches of volume. The 12s are worth 2.25, the 10s are worth 2.5, and your grounds are worth only 0.25. So your first 4 grounds only count as 1. But don't forget about your devices. 2 cubic inches per device. So on a 2-gang switch box, that's 2 different switches, that's a total of 4. So this all comes down to simple addition. If you remember these simple rules and you start with an accurate volume, you kind of can't miss. Keep your installations legal, keep them safe for your clients, and you'll be all set. Thanks for watching.
Guys, thanks for joining me for this bestofthebuildshow.com. If you don't know, we're actually publishing 15 new videos a week over on that website. The controls are fantastic. You can watch it just like you can on YouTube at 2x speed. You can double tap to go forward 10 seconds. You can stream it to your TV. And oh, by the way, we never break into a video with an ad. You're gonna watch a 15-second ad at the beginning and one at the end, and that's it. So this is a great platform. Sign up for our newsletter. There'll be a link in the description below. And that way you'll know every time Travis has a brand new video out. And of course you can check out Travis's bio as well, kind of see how he became an electrician, how he got into the trades to begin with, what his story is to become a builder. And Travis also has a fabulous new series that we just started publishing called Prairie Sun and Timber, that he's building a really high performance house start to finish on just a short 5-part series. So guys, thank you to Travis. Go follow him on social at Catalyst Build, and stay tuned for Friday's brand new video from me. But for the next several Tuesdays, we're gonna have the bestofthebuildshow.com. With that being said, hit that subscribe button below, follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.